Titanic. Out of the scabbled grey granite womb she slipped away, tensing her umbilical chains and setting free the screams of friction. Thrust into the Irish font of maritime baptism, a miraculous mechanical conception, doomed by folly, flawed by fiction. Sea-trialled and fitted out, in sumptuous unbridled splendour, the White Star Line's coal-stoked, upright, iron daughter. With furnace fired, steam straining screw, she came about. Scalpel sharp, she sliced her way towards Southampton water, where, 'neath flapping bunting, criss-crossed for leagues, brass bands played to the excited throng on the bustling quay. Stout stevedores winched aboard supplies and sundry, with tugs and lighters in attendance, like drones about a plump queen bee. All aboard! First a procession of elegant, refined ladies, with sable matching muffs and stoles, and broad bonnets to shade fair faces. Then gentlemen with tall silk hats, canes, spats, and well-groomed whiskers, accompanied by porters bearing monogrammed trunks, fine crocodile and chagrin cases. Followed by the financier, his ever-hopeful mistress, the high-ranking churchman, the enthralled engineer, the academic, the soprano, and the entrepreneur, the surgeon, the artisan, the impostor, his accomplice, the broken-hearted lover, the gambler, the actress, and the disinherited heir, all settling into their staterooms, their stations, and their berths. As bowlines free the bollards, the late arrivals embark, completing a mixed lot of humanity, voyagers of destiny, on a hope-filled transatlantic new century Noah's Ark. With a farewell foghorn blast, the die was cast. A piano played the beguiling notes of Beethoven's Fleur-de-Lis. As a grey ghost she melted into the solent mist and the alluring arms of the nomad Channel breeze. First port a continental call, into Cherbourg, Normandy, to impress the cultured citizens of cultured La Belle France. The air was filled with the Gallic flair of accordion and tricolore, as a chorus sang from land to ship, Bon voyage, au revoir, bonne chance. Underway, she ploughed a furrow through the western approaches, then scored a swathe across the Celtic Sea. As her wash faded into distant lapping memories, she slowed over the harbour bar and sidled up to the Queenstown quay. In her shadow, from all parts and paths, a medley amassed, a butcher from the Burren, a curly cotier from Connemara, a Sligo seamstress, a turf cutter from Tralee, 2 horse traders from Tip and Tullamore, and a fiddler born in Tara, and the 14 Mayo pilgrims from Lahardorn and Adagul. Some had never stepped out of the parish or shade of the mountain side, with their homespun tweeds, shawls, and rosary beads. They stared at the lonely horizon and cast their fate upon the tide. Under a seagull-strewn cold Cork sky, families spoke their last goodbyes as she was tugged once more to motion. Once freed, she courted the wild and ragged western shores, then vanished like a dot into the vast and all but empty ocean. On sacrifice of stoker's sweat, a fierce rate of knots was set. Via hammered rivet, cold cork joint, engine, prop, and balanced keel, she pumped her heart like a humming bird, and surged headlong into a starlit gauntlet and icy trial by ordeal. Along the Labrador corridor came another newly launched, not of timber or steel, without rudder or wheel, or sail or skipper or crew. A luminous sculptured cathedral, the cold current her bold navigator, and the only master to whom she was true. Back aboard, life was plush for those so flush. On the first-class merry-go-round, they exquisitely dined, with fine rare wine, and well-clipped company. After brandy and port, they took the sea air in their comfortable chairs, with a view from the balcony. Down in the steerage canteen, it was all yarns and tall tales. Some jigged, some swigged from the jug, others sat silent in prayer, dreaming of fortune, adventure, and sweethearts. As a melodeon moaned a string of camellias and the lament of an old Irish air. Iceberg, dead ahead, screamed the watchman, as it loomed like a spectre, an arctic mirage, a drifting debutante coming to gate-crash the ball. A waitress serving up sorrow for supper, sole dish on the menu, no demarcation, a lone level table, and one plate to feed all. The ice struck like a war axe, shearing her rivets and cleaving her plate. As force met with force, along with her ribs, all promise was broken. Despair fell on the bridge like a guillotine, severing all other emotion, as dawning doubt infected the watch and those about to be rudely awoken. Abandon ship, a cold command that invokes the best and worst in man, a set of scales, a call to arms that reveals the metal in us all. For oft on the watery stage, where the backdrop is death's shadow, 'tis not the strutting lead, but the bit part ad liber who takes the curtain call. So it was on the wetted edge of life, on a cold Atlantic April night. Each played out their destined role on a ruthless patch of ocean. Some stood fast, others bolted past, the orchestra played on, and others forfeited their very all in acts of pure devotion. The unsinkable breathed her last with a boiler blast, her 4 funnels filled with water. For the second time in life she slipped, now into the dark abyss, where hope would find no quarter. 1,513 souls the cruel maiden claimed for the deep. The lifeboats and Carpathia rescued remaining voyagers and crew. All was sunk, save the flotsam, and there a farewell love letter, signed in a hurried hand, James Flynn of cooled Kellu. And the frozen flakes migrated on, and melted many teardrops into the sad Sargasso Sea, and blessed the silver eels returning to the rivers of the angled isles to set the spirits free. And blessed the silver eels, returning to the rivers of the angled isles to set the spirits free.